It's Tuesday. Joining us now on the line is our good friend, the representative from Congressional District 1 of Mississippi, Representative Trent Kelly. Good morning, Congressman. How are you today, sir?
Good morning, Gerard. Always great to be on SuperTalk.
Yes, sir. Thanks so much for joining us today. We wanted to get you on because, as you're well aware, Memorial Day is coming up, and I know you're a proud member of America's armed forces, and we certainly do appreciate you and extend our gratitude to you, sir, for your service in the military. And start, Representative, if you don't mind, just by explaining the meaning of Memorial Day, because that is different than Veterans Day.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always tell people the distinction. Memorial Day is to honor those who died in combat in defense of our nation. It's to honor their families and to honor their service to this great nation. Without them, we don't have the freedoms that we enjoy. And Veterans Day is to recognize those who serve. And this weekend, we should just remember all those families who don't have a loved one who gave their life in defense of this nation.
I just got to ask you this, Congressman, and unfortunately, I think it's kind of a sign of the times. Do you get the feeling in the House of Representatives there amongst your Democrat colleagues that they have the same degree of respect and reverence for Memorial Day? I know that sounds kooky that we would kind of wonder about that from somebody elected to such high office in this country, but honestly, I don't think many of them think very highly of you, sir, our military, those who paid the ultimate sacrifice so we could live in this country.
Well, Gerard, I'll tell you, probably 85% of those guys are just like us. And when it comes to service to this nation, many of them have served, are great warriors, have lost friends over there. But that 10% on the left, those who have never served, the AOCs and the Presleys, the squad, those guys haven't served and they don't have an appreciation. And unfortunately, their loud voices drown out all those who do honor the service.
Well, I think that's a good point, that the vast majority do share, I guess, our respect in that regard. But it's the ones that don't. They just got the bully pulpit. That's the ones the media focus on, seems like round the clock, and that's all. You would think they are the entire conference.
Well, you would, and they're driving the policy right now, whether it be President Biden or whether it be Nancy Pelosi or Chuck Schumer, they're being driven by the radical policies of these loud 10% on the left of the Democratic Party.
And along those same lines, these activities over in the Middle East and the violence and bloodshed between Israel and Palestinian states, it just shocks me, sir, that so many on the left are anti-Israel. They're anti-Semitic, and now that's triggering anti-Semitic attacks in this country. It's just been the last day or two. They seem to have kind of come around to recognizing Israel's right to be a sovereign state.
Isn't it amazing? And some of them even tried to blame Israel. I don't know how the Palestinians firing rockets into Israel can be Israel's fault.
Unbelievable.
I guess they wanted them to shoot the rockets, but it is unbelievable. And, and you saw this with the Asian hate crimes bill that's what they called it, but it's not. It is all political messaging. I don't see one for Israel and Jewish people right now, them asking to stop the hate, which are real deaths occurring. And so it's just crazy up there that they let policy and their crazy principles drive what they're doing.
What's even more just completely baffling to me, Congressman, is the number of Jewish Americans who are Democrats, knowing that this is a big area of divide. I would argue that almost across the board in the Republican Party, there's broad support, unconditional support for Israel and their right to be a sovereign state and defend themselves. That doesn't exist in the Democrat Party.
It does not, and I don't see how they keep supporting the Democratic Party when they at least their voices that matter either call for Palestinians, call Israel bad names. If you look at the squad, they say all kind of horrible things. They want to cut off the funding for the weapon systems that are used in defense only. Listen, Israel didn't invade Palestine. They shot, fired into it, but they didn't send troops in there. They literally defended their ground and took out those targets, which were trying to fire rockets at them, as far as I can see.
And Israel is not an imperialistic nation. They're not aggressive. They are arguably the world's greatest defenders of their piece of ground, which is small, and they're totally surrounded. They've had to be, otherwise they wouldn't be on the planet anymore, honestly. So I just don't understand.
Palestinians want.
Of course, yeah, exactly.
They don't even recognize them. They want them to be gone. They don't want them to have any ground.
It's totally unbelievable. Let's turn our attention a little bit to the U.S. military and the armed forces. And this Memorial Day always it encourages a sense of pride, I think, for most Americans that really do appreciate and understand just how critical our armed forces have been and what they've done in the way of sacrifice, especially as you indicated on Memorial Day, where we recognize those who paid the ultimate price. Do you have any personal stories, sir, that you could share with respect to the military and those who paid that ultimate price?
Well, I think not necessarily those who paid the ultimate price, but I got to award some long overdue medals to a gentleman the other day. He was in the Philippines on December the 8th when the Japanese bombed that, and he survived the Bataan death march at the point of a bayonet, poking them, killing folks when they fell out, many of them with malaria. We can't imagine the sacrifices that our greatest generation made. And then I see that today. When we lose these young soldiers downrange, these guys, all they want to do is preserve the freedoms that all of us enjoy so much.
And it's incredible how they continue to be so committed to that. And I think just back to our history first, we don't have many of these guys left from World War II. They're, as you know, they're dying out, and we're losing them. And it's a shame because they're a special breed. And I don't know that we've ever seen anything like that, frankly, where these young guys
and
just got up.
And I pray we never do again. These guys were amazing,
yes,
Gerard. They left the farms and went to Paris and all over, Normandy Beach, in Italy and all the islands throughout the Pacific. These guys are just amazing in their dedication, and many of them had never been more than 30 or 40 miles from home when they left. And we wouldn't have this great democracy that we have without those men and women.
No question about it. And then I just think about the Korean conflict, war, and then Vietnam and what a black eye that is on this country. Look, these soldiers went away, and whether or not we agree with or support the cause, the bottom line is their country sent them over there, and they served honorably, and they did what they were asked to do, and they came back, and the way they were treated was really just disgusting. It's good to see that there seems to be an attitude of more respect and gratitude for those folks because they deserve it too.
But we have to guard that, Gerard. It's just like we see with our police departments right now. There's a constant attack in this nation on anything that is good and anything that is honorable. And we try to make that something less than honorable. And I'll tell you, I don't know why every single member serves, but I can tell you this. Most of them serve because they love this nation and they do the right things. There's exceptions to everything. But our Vietnam veterans, Korean War veterans, World War II, and this war on terror, I'll tell you, most of these people have the right heart and they want to serve.
Yeah, there's absolutely no question about it. But this military, this country, and it's not established, and it does not operate with the intent of attacking other countries. It operates with the intent of defending this nation and its interests, and that's what makes it unique. And God bless that we have the strongest military. It's so critical to just maintaining the peace on the planet, not just protecting our borders.
I know, and Rhino said it best earlier. We don't have people fighting to get out of this nation, except for a few Hollywood stars, which we hope do leave. But the majority of people are dying in boats, dying, walking across the desert, dying in every way, just trying to get to this great nation of opportunity. And that's because of the soldiers who died for these freedoms.
And they do essentially whatever's asked of them, which is just so honorable and makes you feel such a sense of pride and respect for those guys. And I mean, God help us, God love them. Thanks so much for joining us today, Congressman. And again, thank you for your service, sir. And let's have a good Memorial Day, and let's tell all our listeners, think about the real reason for that holiday.
Gerard, I just want to tell the families, thank you. We love your sons and daughters who gave their lives for this nation.
Congressman Trent Kelly, thanks so much for joining us. We'll talk to you soon, sir.